I wanna buy tickets for the Joker.
Okay, sir. How many tickets would that be?
The number of seats here.
Okay, sir. What's that word?
What?
What's that word?
You know the word.
I don't know what word that could be, sir.
Just count the number of seats are in the N-word.
Yes, sir, but how can I figure that out when I don't know what the word is?
No fucking way.
No? Is it?
No.
Oh, so it is no.
Fuck no.
No would have taken less effort than just writing the N-word, sir. That's all I'm saying.
You're taking the fun out of this joke, you know.
No shit! Joker was okay. Nah, I'm just kidding. That shit was great. It was great. I highly recommend that you watch it. I mean, critics don't seem to like the Joker. Have you ever seen a review that makes me go, oh, he sounds like a good guy? To be worth arguing about, the movie must first of all be interesting. It must have, if not a coherent point of view, at least a worked out, thought-provoking set of themes. Some imaginative contact with the world as we know it. Joker, an empty, foggy exercise in second-hand style and second-rate philosophizing, has none of that.
Whoa, what a dick.
The New Yorker hated it so much, they reviewed it twice. Stephanie Zacharek from Time said, Phoenix is acting so hard you can feel the desperation throbbing in his veins. He leaves you wanting to start him a GoFundMe, so he won't have to pour so much sweat into his job again. But the aggressive terribleness of his performance isn't completely his fault.
Wow.
Somebody pointed this out on Twitter, I forgot the source, but let's look at her review for Ghostbusters 2016. The movie glows with vitality, thanks largely to the performers who revel.
I thought my jokes were bad.
How about Captain Marvel? Oh, she actually scored it low. Huh. I'm confused now. Anyway, with all these negative reviews, maybe the audience has never bothered to watch this piece of shit movie.
It's not about money. It's about sending a message.
Speaking of the message, I do think that the message of the film is pretty fucking obvious. And somehow, despite this message being obvious as fuck, some enlightened opinions seem to have missed the mark. And what's crazy to me is that what's happening in the film is kinda happening in real life.
Many say the film empathizes with the lone shooter as a victim of circumstances and then elevates him to an iconic vigilante. One of those critics is George Mason University film professor May Santiago.
We're a traumatized society, and you're really going to throw in a blockbuster film, a film with millions, hundreds of millions dollars behind it. I'm sorry, but no, it's not that easy. And with one of the most iconic characters in the cultural lexicon.
This guy gets it.
In 2012, James Holmes killed 12 people and injured 70 during a midnight screening of another Joker film, Christopher Nolan's Batman blockbuster, The Dark Knight Rises.
So this video is gonna talk about two things. One, what the message of the Joker is. And two, how somehow what's happening in the movie and how the media and the news construe this message kind of bends reality. So let's get to it. There will be spoilers, okay? Spoilers from here on out. If the intro wasn't enough, what was it trying to say? Stop it! Stop it now! Stop! Saying nigga is not funny! It's not. Do you want to know the Joker's kryptonite? The one thing that could have stopped him throughout this movie. Are you ready? A hug. That is all the Joker needed throughout this movie. Or else he wouldn't snap. That's all he wanted. Todd Phillips said it here.
And the movie ultimately somewhat is about empathy for people like that, and what happens maybe if we don't treat people with empathy, and I mean, there's a lot going on in the movie, as you know. You saw it, and
The message of the movie basically is don't be a dick. You could afford to be nice. Show some compassion for your fellow man. I think that the film is a tragedy. The tragedy element comes from the fact that Arthur Fleck tried to be good. You see it throughout the movie. He just wants to make people laugh.
You please stop bothering my kid?
Sorry.
And the world keeps coming down on him. It is so unfair. And he has no options because he's so downtrodden. The introduction of this movie is so great. You see the Joker looking in the mirror in clown makeup and he's desperately trying to smile. He's faking it, he's forcing it. And you know from his acting, the way he's shaking, the way he's so frustrated. It's not right. He's trying his best. And everything just fucks him over. In the intro of the movie, when the kids are beating up Joker, this is when I kinda got that you shouldn't bully the weak or you should treat people with compassion because the kids don't talk like normal children. Beat him up! He's weak! You should take from the weak! I'm like, what the fuck? The movie keeps beating over your head with the message of the movie. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, because some people apparently didn't get the memo. Let's talk about representation of race, gender, and ableism in Joker, and how to situate a critical reading in the local Australian context.
How about no?
And then, there's this prick.
So Joker isn't good. I'm sorry.
I forgive you, Bob, for having shit taste. Like he calls out Todd Phillips for being condescending.
In what's sure to become an infamously condescending press quote, Phillips claimed that he wanted to use Joker as a way to sneak a real movie in the studio system in the guise of a comic book film, but
then he does this shit.
What he's delivered is more like a feature-length equivalent to one of those pop culture mashup t-shirts that you see on sale at these sketchy mall kiosks, you know, where like at first glance it's the poster for Scarface, but then you look again and it's not Tony Montana, it's like Vegeta, and you go, oh hey, that's cute, but then if you ask whoever the artist was, like, so is the juxtaposition of like the tormented immigrant's journey corrupted by the twin demons of American racism and capitalism as embodied in the Scarface narrative with Vegeta's Saiyan Dark Prince to husband father redemption arc supposed to be like mirroring an ironic or contradictory symbolism? They're like, juxtapahoo?
Did you see what Film Robert did? He basically called Todd Phillips and the creators of this film dumb. The lack of self-awareness is staggering. And he said the dumbest shit.
If Joker does have a coherent thematic or moral arc to call its own, it doesn't, but if it did, it would boil down to Fleck's journey of self-actualization through realizing that while society can be tough, the real cause of all of your problems is probably a woman.
How did you... I think what Film Robert is trying to say is that the root cause of Arthur's current physical and mental condition is an incident that happened to him when he was younger. He was adopted by Penny Fleck to be used as leverage against Thomas Wayne. And when that didn't work, I think she had no use for the kid. And he was regularly beaten up by his mother's boyfriend. He was found tied up to a radiator. Arthur figures out that his mother lied to him after a particularly harrowing meeting with Thomas Wayne. But that lie alone is not the reason that Arthur fell. It's a series of events throughout this movie.
In a world where everyone thinks they can do my job, check out this guy.
When I was a little boy and told people I was going to be a comedian, everyone laughed at me. Well, no one's laughing now.
You can say that again, pal.
This is a guy that imagines he has a father and son relationship with the man that just shat all over his dreams. He even hallucinates having a romantic relationship with a neighbor he barely even talked to. He really has mental problems. To say that any single person is the cause of everything bad that has happened to Arthur is kinda silly.
The thing I like about this film is there's not just one thing that changes Arthur.
At best, you could say that it was a kill shot, the straw that broke the camel's back. But to say that a woman caused this is kind of careless and makes me think if he really watched the movie, or were we watching the same movie? If this is Film Robert's interpretation, I think that says more about him than this film. The message of Joker is nothing new.
In fact, one of the best movies of all time says it at the end of its film.
Well, it's nothing very special. Try and be nice to people, avoid eating fat, read a good book every now and then, get some walking in, and try and live together in peace and harmony with people of all creeds and nations.
The movie also closes out with some thoughts that I feel are relevant to the next section of this video.
And finally, here are some completely gratuitous pictures of penises to annoy the censors and to hopefully spark some sort of controversy, which it seems the only way these days to get the jaded, video-sated public off their fucking asses and back in the sodding cinema. Family entertainment? Bollocks. What they want is filth. People doing things to each other with chainsaws during Tupperware parties. Babysitters being stabbed with knitting needles by gay presidential candidates.
I saw this tweet from Guy on my feed, where he points out how the Joker says society is broken, which is true of the movie, but then he says someone needs to do something about it, and it, being the film, would rather do literally anything else than explain how or who, which I disagree with. I replied and said that the call for basic human decency near the end of the movie was the solution proposed by the movie. And I haven't gotten a response to that. He posted a Medium article which basically condemns the movie for not being political enough. He says that the rich people abandon and hurt the lower class, but that's not exactly true. It's not just the rich people who hurt the lower class. Arthur does say that men like Thomas Wayne could never empathize with other people, put themselves in the other person's shoe. You can see that in the movie, even poor people shit on Arthur. Even poor people don't sympathize with Arthur. Arthur condemns the system in general, so it's everyone. Everyone has become uncivil. Everyone can no longer empathize with each other.
Your generation is just determined to be angry, mad. Everybody's mad.
The film's political theming is poorly thought out because it's not there. Joker is not a political film. It's a character study, first and foremost. Rams Paul said it best in his tweet. Joker's violence is based on his personal suffering, but the characters in the movie and people in real life see a political message, but the Joker believes in nothing. In the film, Joker incidentally started a movement after killing the Wall Street kids, becoming a symbol of the disenfranchised of Gotham, the haves versus the have-nots. That wasn't Joker's intention. All the people he killed were people who wronged him in some way. If anything, Joker's doctrine is, if someone slaps you on the cheek, shoot the motherfucker in the head.
I might understand that you did this to start a movement, to become a symbol? Come on, not really. Do I look like the kind of clown that could start a movement? I killed those guys because they were awful.
Now in real life, this character study movie is the next incel manifesto. All these headlines are rampant paranoia of a supposed political message when it's not political in the slightest. Life has imitated art. The paranoia has gotten so bad, news is overreacting. We got these over 2,000 IQ articles that say the Joker movie is too violent for kids. The R-rated movie is violent. Shocker! 2 men were arrested for smoking and causing a disturbance. One guy blew smoke on a person, which is admittedly an asshole thing to do. However, I would not call that shit newsworthy. Unless the person who did it was famous. Was the douchebag that did it George Lucas? No! Shut the fuck up then. Yes, George, they haven't noticed anything. I mean, do you know the number of killings that have been inspired by the Joker?
0!
Even The Dark Knight Rises. That was a fucking lie. Holmes, the perpetrator of these shootings, wasn't inspired by the Joker. Even the prosecutor said so. The psychiatrist who interviewed the killer managed to get that the hair choice was random. His friend dyed his hair blue, so he dyed his hair red. The first time the killer heard the idea that he was the Joker was when he was in prison already. But the rumor persists, and I cannot help but see this headline from Vanity Fair itself. That is just fucking hilarious. Some people have backpedaled because nothing is going to fucking happen. Jesus Christ. Okay. I hope nothing happens. Knocking on wood, a Filipino tradition. To summarize, The Joker is not a political film. Neither is it something that would incite violence or hysteria. The message is pretty heavy-handed, but hey, the execution was fucking perfect. To cap off this video, with a zinger, with a bazinga. Let's have Mark the English say something nice. The hysteria surrounding the Joker is hysterical. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you disliked it, leave a dislike. If you want to see more videos of mine, subscribe to the channel and click the bell for notifications. If you particularly like this type of content, maybe you could consider contributing to the Weekend War Chest via Patreon, like these wonderful patrons: Tad586, Chet McMasterson, Nurzul I, Rayo Rules, Daniil Dmitriev, Hjortur S. Hjorturson, John Lemley, Samuel Dillon, Billy DeVoe, and Logic, as well as these other wonderful warriors. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.
Traumatized society, and you're really going to throw in a blockbuster film, a film with millions, hundreds of millions of dollars behind it.